Good day. I will be discussing the biblical theological theme of the temple. The temple is God's dwelling place with man. But why does God need a dwelling place in order to be with man? God, in His love, has always wanted to be with man. Eden was probably the very first archetypal temple. Here, God could walk and commune with Adam. But when Adam sinned, God, in His holiness, could no longer dwell with man. Therefore, God designed sanctuaries where He could dwell with man. The first sanctuary mentioned in the Old Testament is the tabernacle. While it was being built, God met with Moses in the tent of meeting. This was a tent where God met Moses in the form of a pillar of cloud at the entrance to the tent. This tent was pitched outside the camp, as far away as possible from man. Once the construction of the tabernacle was completed, the tent of meeting was replaced by the tabernacle. God now resided in the tabernacle and dwelt among the people, no longer outside the camp. The atonement cover was God's dwelling place in the tabernacle. It was His throne, flanked by angels. After the death of Moses, the tabernacle was placed in Gilgal. The covenant ark was brought along by Joshua during the battles and the conquest of the promised land. News spread fast among the neighboring nations that God was in the midst of these people and was fighting for them. Once the conquest was basically complete, the tabernacle was moved to Bethel for a while, then to Shiloh, where the tabernacle found a permanent residence for 369 years. King David was the first to propose building a temple. Solomon, his son, built the temple at the place indicated by David, the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite on Moriah Hill. The temple that Solomon built bore many similarities to the tabernacle, reflecting the continuity of the divine indwelling through the ages. And when Solomon had the Ark of Covenant brought into the newly built temple, the cloud filled the temple, for the glory of the Lord had come. In 587 BC, the temple was destroyed by the Babylonians. Ezekiel saw the glory of God depart from the temple in a vision. The Ark of the Covenant, the only temple material that God had indwelt, became lost at this time. After the exile, God promised to be a sanctuary for the people. The people discovered that God's presence could be experienced in more places than they had thought. The temple, however, was rebuilt by the exiles who returned to Jerusalem under the leadership of Zerubbabel in 538 BC. No cloud filled this second temple, as had happened during the dedication of Solomon's temple or at the tabernacle. The building of the temple was complete, but the divine presence of God was missing. The temple was later expanded by King Herod. This was the temple that Jesus frequented when he was on earth. Jesus recognized the divine nature of this temple enough to get angry when it was defiled by the money changers. Jesus also predicted its destruction, which happened in 70 CE by the Romans, who burned down the temple, leaving not one stone on another. During Jesus' life on earth, Herod's new temple building was never God's dwelling place with men. Rather, his dwelling place was Christ's sinless body. Jesus was able to walk and live with sinful men because he was fully God and fully human. However, man in his depravity did not recognize his Creator. Jesus, the temple of God, was crucified, but God raised him up from the dead on the third day. There were some who believed in Jesus, and they became the place where God resided. Paul speaks about how Jesus and all believers comprise the temple, with Jesus being the cornerstone, and believers are joined with Jesus and rise to become a holy temple in the Lord. The vision of the reconstruction of the temple in Ezekiel chapters 40 to 43, when taken literally, anticipate a future temple where the glory of the Lord will return, and the name of this city would be Jehovah Shammah. The Lord is there. The millennial temple, if there is such a temple, would give way in eternity to the New Jerusalem. This is the ultimate and eternal dwelling place of God with all who are redeemed from all ages of time. There will be no separate sanctuary in the New Jerusalem because there will be no more sin to defile God's holiness. All will be holy and all be like the Lord because the redemption plan by the blood of Christ at Calvary will be fulfilled and perfected. God and the Lamb are the temple. God's original desire to dwell with man and enjoy fellowship with us would at last be realized. The Bible progressively reveals the story of the temple of God from the Old Testament to the New. God had always wanted to dwell with man but was unable to because of sin. Sanctuaries in the form of the tabernacle and temple allow God the liberty to dwell with man. However, the sanctuary was God's gracious gift. God chose to dwell there. He could leave if his people disobeyed him. And this is what happened during King Zedekiah's time. God left the temple as seen by Ezekiel in a vision. The Babylonians then destroyed the temple. And in the New Testament, 580 years later, God returned to dwell with man in the incarnation of Jesus. The temple of God was Jesus. He continues to live with man now in the lives of each believer and in the church. We are the temple of God at present. In the future, a new temple might be built during the reign of Jesus in the millennial period, but ultimately a physical temple would not be required because God will once again be able to dwell with man because of Jesus' sacrifice in taking away the sins of humanity. The tabernacle is a picture of the Lord Jesus and his salvation. There was only one entrance to the courtyard of the tabernacle. Similarly, Jesus is the only way to come to God. The brazen altar which stood on a mound of earth signified Jesus' sacrifice up on the cross on a hill, Golgotha. The menorah represented Jesus as the light of the world. The bread of presence represented Jesus as the bread of life broken for us. The altar of incense represented Jesus as our intercessor at God's right hand. And the torn veil is Jesus' body broken in death, giving access to the Holy of Holies, God's dwelling place in heaven. The tabernacle is the type and Jesus is the antitype. The continuity of the theme of divine indwelling can be seen from the Old Testament into the New. Before sin entered the world, God dwelt with man without the need for a temple. After the fall, a physical temple was required. In the New Testament, the theme of the temple continues, but there is a spiritualizing of the temple. God first dwells in the man Jesus, later in those who believe in Jesus. Finally, sin is vanquished permanently by Jesus' sacrifice, and the physical temple is done away with. God is able to dwell with man again without the need for a sanctuary, as he did once in Eden before sin entered. A continuity of the necessity for holiness too can be seen from the Old Testament to the New. In the Old Testament, many laws were in place to ensure that whoever approached the temple was holy. In the New Testament, believers are instructed to keep their bodies holy because our bodies are the temple of God. There is this continuity as well. In the Old Testament, animal sacrifices in the temple were required to take away sins. In the New, animal sacrifices are no longer needed because Jesus is the ultimate sacrificial lamb. And in the Old Testament, touching something ceremonially unclean makes one unholy. But in the New Testament, there isn't any worry about becoming unholy by touching carcasses of unclean animals or human uncleanness, because the sacrifice of the body of Jesus Christ has made us holy. The temple in the New Testament is way better than the Old Testament temple. In the Old Testament, the temple was perishable, and when it was destroyed, the Israelites looked forward to the hope of a new temple. And in the New Testament, the prophesied new temple was revealed to be God Himself, and this temple was eternal, imperishable. In the Old Testament temple, animal sacrifices had to be offered again and again, but in the New Testament, Jesus' sacrifice was once for all. In the Old Testament temple, the blood of the sacrificed animals could not take away sin, but in the New Testament, Jesus, being without sin, was able to open a new and perfect way of forgiveness. The Old Testament temple was man-made, just a copy of the true one. In the New Testament, the temple to come, New Jerusalem, was heaven itself. Thank you.